Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, first I find this debate a little misplaced because I don't know whether as a House we are supposed to be discussing court rulings and, because I thought that generally what we do with court rulings is implement them. But we have spent the whole afternoon discussing this issue of the court ruling, whether the judges were right or they are wrong.
Robert Mbui, if you listen to the beginning, don't take us back. When Emilio Odhiambo, who is your leader, raised the issue, you are here. And the House was given direction by the Speaker. So I expect your contribution to tell the House which way you want us to go. But to go back and say for the last 3 hours we have been exercising in futility, you are taking a wrong trajectory. I know you are senior and a leader, should have given you an opportunity at the beginning, but you also started off by very unorthodox conduct.
Mr. Speaker, I was only trying to claim my position as a deputy leader of the majority based on the ruling that we read of the court. But Mr. Speaker, the issue of majority, which is what we are discussing, is not an issue, in my opinion, that's supposed to be decided either by the Speaker or even this House. This is a decision that is made by Kenyans when they cast their ballots at the end of the last, at the elections. And Mr. Speaker, even the issue of that you are supposed to make a ruling or you are supposed to say who is majority or minority, Mr. Speaker, really what you are supposed to do is convey the information that has come from the, from the register of political parties when they indicate how many members are in each coalition. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that what is happening in Kenya now, Mr. Speaker, and why I think we are having this problem is because Parliament and politics in Kenya has become very indecent. Mr. Speaker, it's important that when people are elected in a certain coalition, they spend their 5 years in that coalition. And Mr. Speaker, if anyone feels that they do not want to belong to that coalition, the law is also very clear that you can go and seek a fresh mandate. But you know what we have been doing here, Mr. Speaker, is that people are elected in one party in the middle of the term, they jump ship and go to another party. Our leader, Raila Odinga, was in a party and he was dissatisfied. He left, went for a by-election, was re-elected, was brought back to the House. This business of people just crossing, I think, Mr. Speaker, is a problem, and that is why we are here today. Otherwise, I want us to respect the court ruling. Majority is the Azimio, and the minority can take up their position on the other side. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Robert Mbui. Ferdinand Wanyonyi.
The Speaker, thank you very much for the chance. I think I've sat here and I've listened to contribution to everybody. I think I should retreat to go to look at this, Mr. Speaker. I think the best thing is look at the coalition we had before election and after election. See which coalition has which numbers. And that if you have got the number, you don't be able to know who the members are. And given that, you can be able to, because as I see, we are late. We are
Order, Women Rep Migori.
Yeah. So yes.
Order. Yes, go on, Ferdinand.
So what I was saying is that the Speaker, as you retreat, I think we need to look at the coalition. If it's Azimio, how many people are there? Because people have moved out, the others have come in. See how many, Kenya Kwanza, how many people are there to be able to know who the majority is. It's as simple as that, so I can be able to move forward. I raise my case.
Thank you, Kimani.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On the issue of whether the Speaker is supposed to belong to any particular political party, the law is very clear on every appointed and elective position that this country holds. And I've looked and there is nowhere that has a requirement. Where the law has required that a particular person belong or not to belong to a political party, the law has expressly said so. Honorable Speaker, studying this judgment, paragraph 493, just to read verbatim of this judgment, says, it will be remembered that our Constitution at Article 99(1)(c) only singles out the Speaker as the ex-officio member of the National Assembly, and like all the other members because of his special status. Honorable Speaker, the judges that were making this ruling not even bother to to read what Article 99(1)(c) of the Constitution says. If you read Article 99(1)(c) of the Constitution and to read it verbatim, it says qualification and disqualification from election as members of Parliament. So 1, unless disqualified under Clause 2, a person is eligible for election as a member of Parliament if the person A is a registered voter, B satisfies any education, moral and ethical requirements, C is nominated by a political party or is an independent candidate who is supported. And therefore, even the reference to that article of the Constitution that they purport to quote for this particular judgment, Honorable Speaker, is not what the law says. And therefore, the question we're asking ourselves, should then the judiciary either interpret the law or make the law? Because even by them quoting a reference that completely unrelates to that particular judgment, creates an attempt to make a law, which they shouldn't do. Their work should be to interpret. My submissions, Honorable Speaker.
Before I give the next, Honorable Salasya, I'm told you want to not to contribute because you are under quarantine on the issue raised. The clerk tells me you want to say something to that?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that whatever Mheshimiwa Ichung'wah said, if I felt like maybe it was in bad intention, maybe I apologize. But Mr. Speaker, also, as we people...
Order, Honorable Salasya. Were you recording? Because you say if, you know, it's like there's no remorse. If you are recording, it is not permitted by our standing orders. So if you did that, I want to guide you as a young member, and I want you to grow in your leadership. There is a lot of decency, and the Bible says the greatest word in human relations is one word called sorry. If you did that, say sorry and delete those logs, and we go on.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I apologize and withdraw and delete.
Delete all those logs and let the clerk confirm. Waluke John.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance. Honorable Speaker, the ruling of the High Court.
After Waluke, I'll give 2-3 others, then we close.
The ruling of the High Court, Speaker, was overtaken by event because it has taken almost 3 years, and the case was filed with the certificate of urgency, where the 3-bench judge could have acted very quickly and gave the ruling immediately. Mr. Speaker, there is nowhere where it says that the Speaker cannot hold any political office, Mr. Speaker. There's nowhere. So, Mr. Speaker, make the ruling. On the side of majority and minority, Mr. Speaker, these two, the difference is very little in terms of, there's no difference in terms of salary or in terms of working, Mr. Speaker. So time is, there are people now aligning themselves politically for the next general elections, Mr. Speaker. So time is of essence, and we plead that, I plead that, Mr. Speaker, the members of this House also need to consider that we are almost going to elections. So the two should be left the way they are, the majority and the minority. I don't see any hedge that can force to say